This tutorial assumes you have Hammer++ and Hammer add-ons installed. If you do not have these two tools installed, please watch our first tutorial.
Hello, portal mapping and modding. Today I'll be showing you how to use and make instances. For this tutorial I'll be using Hammer++ because of its instance previews. Think of instances as a map file that can be added into other map files, with the benefit of being easily editable and with custom logic. To use instances, you must first save your map. Now make a func instance entity and then on the VMware file name, press Browse to navigate to any file. Most of your instances will be found in maps instances. This is purely for organization, and instances are not required to be put here. However, it is recommended for organization. I'm trying to place a cube dropper, and that is in instances, gameplay, cube dropper normal, just here. So I'm going to align this with the hole I made here. There we go. So you may notice this. No other entities have this. This is a key value that is unique to this instance. Now, for some other cube dropper instances, like the Hammer add-ons one, this will allow you to be able to change if it auto respawns or not. It's quite useful. So give this a name. Let's go to cube dropper. So this button will drop the cube, and this button will tell the dropper to auto respawn the cube. So from this, I'll make an output. I'm pressed. Go to this, the cube dropper, and you'll notice that there are now two unique outputs, or inputs actually, to this instance. One of them is to drop the cube, which is this one, and the other one is to tell it to auto respawn, which is this one. To teach you the fundamentals of making instances, I'll walk you through 3 different examples, 2 with logic and 1 without. My first example will be how instances can help with repetitive or angled sections in your maps. So I'm going to make a new VMF, going to save it, and I'm going to be making just a destroyed wall. So I'm going to quickly make one of these. Okay, so I'll now add to this instance, and you can see I did not save it to the instances directory. However, this will still function just as usual. It doesn't affect too much. So as you can see already, I have immediately rotated this instance to be the orientation that I want it to be in. Because originally this is mapped like face down. If I go here, you see this is mapped downwards. But here, I've rotated it to be upwards. There's another thing you can do with rotation is, obviously, you'll be able to rotate it sideways, like this. So if I wanted to make like a small or caved-in section, instances are great for this. Because let's say I wanted to add a glue tile here on the rotator. I'll get rid of this and move it here. Let's say I wanted to add another glue tile here. And let's say this is just a normal wall. I would not be able to add a glue tile here because it's no longer on the grid. But with instances, I can go here and simply just add this. And then just do that. When I go back, you can see this has been added and it's perfectly on the grid, which is fantastic. There's one more thing you can do with instances with Hammer++, is edit instance preview button. This, if your instance is rotated, it will rotate the rest of the map to align with this. So if it's like this, you'll get some really weird results. However, it does mean that I can easily edit this instance to align with the original map. If I do that, and then back, you'll see it will do the exact same thing it did in the preview. Exactly where it said it will. My second example will be 2 separate instances, one for a button and one for a test chamber door to show both inputs and outputs. First, I'll make a new VMF, and I'm just going to call this button instance. In here, I'm going to make a prop button. And also, I'm going to make a instance IR proxy. This will handle inputs and outputs to and from the instance. So, because I'm using a button, I want to detect when this button is pressed and then send an output from this to the proxy. So I'm going to do it here, on pressed, proxy. This will be automatically named. Don't change the name. And then proxy relay. You will also want to name this button because it is sending an output out. So I'm just going to call this button. And this is now complete. Now for the test chamber DAW, I want to make a second instance. Save this as DAW instance. Make a prop underscore test chamber DAW. And then another IR proxy. Again, this will be automatically named. So, but this is actually the inverse of the button, where you want to be able to detect when this is given an input to open and also close this DAW. So I want to give this a name, we'll call this DAW. And from the IR proxy, we can send an output to the DAW on proxy relay. And then I want one for open, for close. So when this is sent an input, we can either tell it to close the DAW or to open the DAW. Close this. Now, back in your original map, you just want to make a func instance. Set its file name to the DAW, in my case. Put it here. Put that. And now I want to give this a name. We'll call this DAW1. I now want to make two buttons, one to open it and one to close it. So under the func instance, give this the button. And I also want to give this a name too. This requires a name for outputs to work. So I'm going to call it button1. Now I want another one of these to close this DAW. So I'll go over here. This needs a unique name too, otherwise it'll break the logic. So back at the button that'll open this DAW, we're going to use our output that we just made, which will be here. We then want to set the target to the DAW. And now we can choose one of our inputs to this DAW that we made earlier. I want to open this, choose this one. I can then go to this button. I want this button to close the DAW and then open it after 2 seconds have passed. So I'm going to go with our output here that we made to DAW1. To the input that we made to close it. I want to make a second one of these. So on pressed, go to the DAW. We then want to open this after a delay of 2 seconds. So back in game, when I press this button, this DAW should open. And when I press this button, this DAW should close and then open after 2 seconds. The third example will be a fully colorable light strip instance. While I would not recommend using this instance, it is useful to show instance key values. The entity that allows us to create custom key values is called func instance parameters. The way this entity works is it detects any key value that has a $ in the front of it. So if I wanted to change the brightness of these lights, I will go $. I'm just going to call this brightness. This variable can be called anything. And now if you go here, into the parameters, you can see it's added this, and it also expects a variable type, which will be one of these from the drop-down. Now, to find which one you want to be using here, you can go back to your light and check what key value you are changing, which is the brightness. Pressing the help button will bring up this little entity help menu. If you scroll down, you'll be able to find key value you're changing and what key value type it is, which in this case is color 255. So here, I'm saying color 255, and this is done. So back in the main map, if you click on this instance, you can see a new brightness key value has appeared. Here you can enter any value and it will automatically overwrite the key value with the $sign on it. So if I want this light instance to emit green light, I go, this would be the red, this would be the green, this would be the blue. And I also want to set a brightness, which will just be 200. And over on this light, I want to give this a different color, because I'm going to give this one a red color. So this will be red, green, blue, and a brightness of 200. Okay, now that we're back in game, we can go look at the lights. You'll see that this light is green, this light is red. This is correct. In addition to manually setting every single key value in the instance, you can go to the Func Instance Parameters, disable Smart Edit, which is here, and manually add a default value here. The color 255 is set up of an RGB and then a fourth brightness value. So if I want just a purely white light, I'm just going to go 255, 255, 255. This is red, green, blue. And then I want a brightness of, let's say, 60. And if I apply this and go back, you can see this is one of the edited instances. This has a custom value. And here this has the question mark value. The question mark value means that it will use the default value that you've just given it in the instance. Now we're in game, we can go check this. You can see the two instances that have custom brightness values, this one and this one, have two different colors, while the rest of them have the default white at 60 brightness. Instance Fixup is a crucial part of instance functionality. Instances are collapsed at VBSP, meaning that they are compiled into the map as normal brushes and entities. However, the compiler will give each entity a unique prefix using the instance's name. This can be configured using the entity fixup. The different options are prefix, which is the default, postfix, and no fixup at all. No fixup may break logic if inputs are no longer contained within the instance. Hammer supports manually collapsing instances, allowing you to edit them more easily. This can be useful for making minor modifications to instances without having to edit the original VMF. So, for example, if I want to go to this instance here, press instancing, collapse, I'll just collapse the selection here. I could now easily change, for example, the skin of this model. So if I want it to be 1, I could do that. I could then go here and set this to be some 1 color. Collapsing instances will break Func Instance IR proxies and Func Instance parameters. This can be worked around by directly integrating the collapse entity logic into your main map. So if, for example, I was going to collapse this door here, so I'll go into this collapse selection, instead of now sending this output to the door to open it, I'll just directly be sending open, because this is now an actual entity that I can mess around with. And also, because collapsing automatically does name fixup, the target entity field will be different for this. So now when I press this, it will tell this door here specifically to open, instead of telling the instance to tell this door to open. Okay, I believe that's it. Thank you for watching. Hope this was useful.